All right, my man, state your name and let them know you on Real Talk with Nick.
What's going on? My name is Kaz. Real Talk with Knicks. We here now.
That's what's up. Nick fan.
Yes, sir.
Okay, how long you been a Nick fan, man?
Oh, man. Maybe for at least 20 years now.
Okay. Favorite player on the Knicks?
I would say all time, that sound crazy, Amarie Stoudemire. Right now, I like Obi Toppin.
You know what? I'm glad that you mentioned Amarie and then Obi. Because a lot of people compare their two games, And give me your input, man. When we speak of Obi, right? Do you think he can be the rising star, man, on the New York Knicks?
So with that comparison, I feel like their playing styles are very similar, and he just needs that player development to play very similar to him. I think he'll excel very well if he has that player development. I think he could be an integral part of like a strong Knicks playoff team. I don't know if he'll be like a superstar player, but he has the skill sets, at least like those like raw skill sets to like really be a part of the team to really help them get over the hump.
Okay, so do you think Julius Randle is still needed when we got Obi Toppin?
You know, it's funny, they were talking about it very recently. Randle is still kind of relatively young, and I think there's a way that they could kind of finesse having them both there. I think at some point in time, like, Randle will play himself off the team, but they got a solid time window with age and experience on their side to kind of push through. I think if anything, we've seen that Randle's good, but he's not the player that we thought he was. He's not like that superstar player. He's a nice piece to the team.
So why you say he's not that superstar player? What makes you say that?
I think that they're trying to utilize him in a way that is not best for him. He's not trash. He actually put up solid numbers. He's putting up 20, 10, 5 maybe.
Right.
He's not bad at all. I just think that we're relying too much on him to make things happen. And there's other gaps. Like, we need a point guard. And I think that has been a part of the problem the whole season. We don't have a point guard. Once you get the point guard, that can alleviate a lot of things. I just think that also with the emergence of R.J. Barrett as a star player, it's kind of like he's not the only go-to. You got someone else who can also score. So I think we got options. He shouldn't be the sole option. He shouldn't just solely run the offense to him. That's what I've seen this year.
Okay. Now, you said something about point guard. Derrick Rose got hurt. You think if he never had gotten hurt, that Derrick Rose could have filled in on the starting five and made a big difference?
We would have probably made it to the playoffs, but I'm still not like convinced that would have pushed us over the hump. Like, you can't expect 33-year-old like a Derrick Rose to carry us over the hump. Like, he's gonna put in work, but we need a point guard who's like relatively younger and can really carry us over. He's a great like bench player to come off to support us, but I'm not gonna put all my eggs in one basket for Rose, man. Especially at this age in his career, like, nah. Playing with it. He's injury prone too, so it's a gamble.
So you wouldn't even want Derrick Rose back?
No, I would. I would love for him to come back. I also think he's our solution to the point guard issue. He can help, but we need another point guard.
Okay. Now, you like the chemistry between Derrick Rose and Immanuel Quickley?
I know he's gonna mention him. Yeah, I think he's a great mentor for IQ. And then speaking of IQ, I like some of his chemistry with him and Obi as well. So I think having Rose around, he could be a mentor for folks. And I think that IQ, he's developing himself too. I think that's part of the problem with Tibbs too. Like, he don't play the young players. You start seeing at the end of the year, like, it's garbage games, but you're able to kind of see like the breadth of their potential.
Who's the rising stars? Like who got what?
And you gotta let them play. If you don't let them play, they can't really, exploit the level of their talent.
Now, before we get into that, right? Because I want to make a point with the point guard situation. What do you say to those who say that Immanuel Quickley could be the future point guard? Do you see a point guard game in him?
There's potential. I think Quickley has to be able to continue to facilitate. He has to facilitate the rock. He's shown flashes of it, but it has to be consistent. And I've really experienced Quickley to be more like offensive minded, like scoring. Well, he has the capacity to pass, but he has to do that night in and night out. And that's going to make him a dynamic point guard for that team. And we need that because it's going to alleviate people like Randle having to always bring the ball up. Having turnovers and alleviate like Barrett bringing the ball up. It's just going to allow people to just play in their positions and not, exhaust them on the offensive end. So I think that'll be the key for him if he's supposed to be the point guard of the other team.
Okay. So you can see him potentially becoming a point guard.
It's just gonna really require him being able to like be more dynamic. He can't just be scoring all the time. You got to pass the ball. You gotta look for like to facilitate. He's done it. He's done it in some flashes. We have to do it more consistently.
Are you saying that Immanuel Quickley is a little bit of a ball hog?
I ain't say that, but I do think that he's offensive minded, which helps when he comes off the bench. It's a nice spark off the bench. But if you start in, it's a different energy we need from you now. So,
okay. And RJ Barrett, man. Now, seeing how his game is elevating. If you had to critique RJ's game, what would it be?
I think his free throws. Oh, and we saw that towards the end of the season. His free throws was killing him. Like he's starting to see how he can ascend from being a superstar in the league, and it's those free throws. You can't go like he's aggressive at the hole, which I appreciate. You can't go to the hole, you can't make your free throws. That's gonna kill us. Like you gotta make defense play you more honestly if you can hit those free throws. They're gonna really honor you. But if you go on the line and hang your free throws, it's like, all right, we can foul this guy. It don't matter. But that's gonna make a difference for him having 20 to 30 points a night. Literally, you go to the line several times, and he could bank out 30. So he needs to work on those free throws.
Free throws. Okay. And I'm going to talk about some other players on the Knicks. When we speak of Quentin Grimes.
Okay, yeah.
You're a fan of his?
Oh yeah, I like it. Like he has a solid like stroke from like the side or like from the shooting threes. Plays solid defense. I also like him too. Like I'm also kind of excited to see how they're gonna develop him right now. Like he's been getting these minutes and he's been showing that he's really like productive on the court. So I kind of want to see like how else his game can kind of transform. So he's a part that really for me that young core that the Knicks had that we can't compromise. Like we gotta develop that core. And I always think about the Warriors team. It took them years to develop that team. So you're gonna have to wait and see how that team develops. We got a lot of nice young pieces. Even this guy, Deuce. I like Deuce too. But we gotta see how he fares in the next season, able to develop. The key for the Knicks is player development. Also leveraging opportunities to go to the playoffs. So they have a young team, but they also have experience. So it's leveraging all those things at once.
Do you see the Knicks where the 76ers was one set as far as youth development?
I can see that. I like for Embiid, he's a big example. They had to wait years to see him develop throughout his injuries, and I think for the Knicks is really having to like sit and watch and see what's going to happen. Don't trade for nobody that's going to compromise your future. If you're going to make deals that make sense. You can't compromise that young core. You're going to trade for a player who's already out there prime and can give you, you know what I mean? Like, don't do that. Have you seen that happen before? It doesn't work. You got to wait.
Okay. Now, when we speak of youth, once again, is Tom Thibodeau the right coach, man?
That's a good question, and I'm not going to lie. I feel like this is going to be his test this year to know that. I think he has a certain style, which fared as well year one. Year two, you saw that, some of his stubbornness and switching the lineups kind of hit us hard. This is going to be his year to really think about that. Like, are you going to sit down people who could potentially help the team? So, I don't know. I think that question will be answered in this year.
In this year?
Yeah.
So, you think this is going to be the year whether they decide to keep? Because the first year, we went 4th seed. It was the 4th seed team in the postseason. We got bumped first round, Now we didn't make it at all, But what I find quite interesting, right, is the amount of wins we had this season. We had at least a decent amount still.
And it's funny, I was going to speak on that. And a lot of those games, like, we probably lost, maybe, I would say at least 10 games where the point differential was close. And it goes back to, like, just not having some of those key pieces, like, falling apart in the fourth quarter or after halftime playing, like trash. And it's, like, really being able to, like, get over that hump and sustain, like, the gap. Like, if we're up, we got to hold that up until the end of the game. Like, simple things like that. And, to Thibodeau's defense, we had some injuries that, like we didn't foresee Kemba playing this bad. Fournier had to catch on fire a little before, like, at some point in the season. So there were things that, like, didn't work in our favor. Where I feel like this year now we kind of have an idea what we need and what the problem is. So, like, this is going to be the year to kind of answer a lot of questions.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you mentioned Kemba. Do you think Kemba got the short end of the stick, man? I think it was a lot of chemistry issues versus him being prone injury?
I think that like Kemba's a talented player, but he can't go to chair. I can't. And I love Kemba. I'm from the Bronx. You know, BX stand up.
Me too. Soundview section.
I'm uptown by Gun Hill Road.
Okay.
He can't go to chair. So it's like he's always gonna put us in a compromising position against somebody's other opposing like point guard, like so that, and he's injury prone. So at some point, you gotta think about the team. Like, is it worthwhile to put him on the court, knowing that he's not gonna be able to produce consistently? Yeah, nice, but he balled out, but it's not always consistent. Like honestly, what we needed from him was a solid 15 a night. If he give us that, that's okay. Him and Fournier, at least 15 a night, that would have helped out. But he can't give us that all the time. And he's injury prone. He's sitting out one night, he's playing one night. It's too much.
All right, my man. Listen, I want to thank you for coming on Real Talk with Nick.
Appreciate you.
Well, we talking about Nick basketball, man. And we out. Peace.